All right, let's dive in. We're going to talk about something that's a massive headache for so many companies: governance, risk, and compliance. You know it as GRC. We're going to look at how to take it from this tangled, chaotic mess and turn it into a real strategic advantage for your business.
So let me ask you, does this feel familiar? You know, that constant scramble, always feeling like you're putting out one GRC-related fire after another? If you're nodding your head right now, trust me, you are not alone. It's almost always a sign of a much bigger, more fundamental problem hiding just under the surface.
And these right here, these are the classic symptoms of what we call GRC drag. It's that sinking feeling of deja vu, where you're going through the same audit again. Compliance starts to feel like a second job for, well, pretty much everyone. Your most critical teams, engineering, IT, finance, they're constantly being pulled away from the work that actually moves the business forward. It all just snowballs into this endless, exhausting cycle of evidence requests, and your teams are just burnt out.
And all of this inefficiency, all this drag, it comes with a very, very real cost. Let's talk about what we call the hidden GRC tax.
You see, all that fragmentation creates this invisible operating tax that gets levied on the entire business. It's the cost of all that duplicated work, the constant miscommunication, the endless fire drills. It's this unseen force that just slows everything to a crawl.
So what does this tax actually look like in real dollars? Well, a recent survey found that $2.3 million is the average annual budget for just one compliance program, Sarbanes-Oxley. And you can bet these costs are only going up.
But it's not just about the money, right? It's about your people. That very same program costs, on average, over 10,000 hours of work from your teams. I mean, just think about that. That's a huge amount of brainpower being poured into just proving you're compliant, and in the most painful way possible. Imagine what those teams could be creating with that time instead.
Okay, so why? Why is it like this? Let's really get to the root cause of why traditional GRC is just so fundamentally broken for so many organizations.
This slide, this really gets to the heart of the problem. You see, GRC doesn't just show up one day fully formed. It grows, but it grows in totally separate silos. You've got your InfoSec team, and they're laser-focused on cyber risks. Think SOC 2. Meanwhile, legal is over here wrestling with privacy frameworks like GDPR. And then internal audit is in their own world, managing financial controls for SOCs. Everybody has their own language, their own priorities, and what you end up with is organized chaos.
Now, the good news is there is a much, much better way to do this. The key is to fundamentally upgrade your company's whole operating system for GRC. And that starts, first and foremost, with a strategic shift in your mindset. And this just illustrates that shift perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way. GRC is seen as a cost center. It's pure bureaucracy, a check-the-box exercise where the only real goal is to make the auditors go away. But the new way, on the right, it completely flips the script. GRC becomes a productivity upgrade. It actually enables revenue, it creates predictability and speed, and the goal becomes innovating safely within smart guardrails. It's a whole different world.
So what does this new operating system for GRC actually look like? How do you build it? Let's unpack the blueprint.
The core concept here is integrated risk management, or IRM, and really this is the death of fragmented risk management. It's an organization-wide discipline. And look at the key words here: decision-making and business performance. This is all about connecting those scattered, siloed activities to actually push the business forward faster.
So how does this engine actually work? Well, it's built on three really important pillars. First, unified governance. That means having a single group with the real authority to make decisions. Second, centralized controls. You build one and only one source of truth for all your controls. And third, and this is the secret weapon, reusable evidence. This is how you finally end audit fatigue for good.
And at the very heart of this new model is an incredibly powerful idea: build once, map many. So instead of having separate controls for, say, SOC2 and ISO, you create one authoritative control for something like access reviews. You build it once, you make it rock solid, and then you map it to all the different frameworks it satisfies. This is how you completely obliterate redundant work. It is an absolute game changer.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory. But what does this kind of transformation actually deliver in the real world? Let's look at the tangible bottom-line results.
The impact is, well, it's massive. When organizations centralize their controls like this, they see up to a 40% drop in duplicate controls, a 40% reduction in having to rework evidence,
And get this, they actually cut security and compliance delays in their sales cycles by 25%. That's how you turn a cost center into a sales-enabling machine.
And just look at the impact on speed. That crazy weeks-long fire drill to pull together evidence for an audit? It becomes a calm, predictable process that takes days, not weeks. Why? Because the evidence is just there. It's ready to go. Think of all the time and stress that gives back to your teams.
And real-world case studies prove this out. One fintech company using this modern approach collected their audit evidence 45% faster. And like the quote says, these aren't just fuzzy compliance metrics. These are business velocity metrics. They translate directly to getting your products to market faster and closing those big enterprise deals sooner.
This brings us to the final and honestly probably the most powerful shift in thinking. It's the core difference between the GRC of the past and the GRC of the future. The entire game is changing right now. GRC is transforming from this passive, backward-looking system into an active, real-time system that actually does things. It's moving from being just a system of record, an archive of what happened in the past, to becoming a system of execution.
And this analogy just nails it. The old way of GRC gives you a dashboard that tells you, hey, by the way, a door was left open yesterday. Helpful, right? The new way has an intelligent agent that not only sees that open door in real time, but is actually empowered to go and shut it immediately. It is the fundamental difference between explaining what went wrong and actively stopping things from going wrong in the first place.
And this right here is the new benchmark. A platform that just tells you what happened is no longer good enough. The new standard is a platform that actively works to prevent failures before they even happen. That is the paradigm shift we're talking about.
And so this brings us to the final question, the one I want you to take back to your organization. When you look at all the meetings, all the spreadsheets, and all the fire drills, ask yourself this: are we spending our time proving we're in control, or are we spending our time actually being in control? The answer to that question is going to tell you everything you need to know.